طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وهدى وتقا ورشادا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع ومن قلب لا يخشع ومن نفس لا تشبع ومن دعوة لا تسمع. نعوذ بك اللهم من هؤلاء الأربع. أما بعد، فأولا أهنئكم بحلول العيد، وأسأل الله أن يتقبل منا ومنكم صالح الأعمال، وأن نكون نحن من العائدين والفائزين والمغفور لهم بإذن الله تعالى. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that as we return with high imans, and we return as people who have been forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Arafah, whether amongst us are those who went for Hajj, those who couldn't. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all of us and make and those who and give us tawfiq time and again to perform Hajj for his sake. Ameen. نعود إلى ما كنا. الحمد لله. We had before the Eid break, we had finished فضل العلم, the chapter related to the virtue of ilm and its people. We had also finished the first part, الفصل الأول من آداب al-Mutakallim, the etiquettes of the learner. We had finished reading the آداب al-Mutakallim في نفسه, that he is supposed to observe within himself. And we had also read most part of the آداب al-Mutakallim مع شيخه. ذكر الشيخ في الفصل الثاني الذي هو آداب المتعلم مع شيخه 13 نوعا. The Musannif had mentioned 13 types of adab. Before the Eid break, we had finished 12 of them, and we were left with the 13th one. And after this, inshallah, we have the etiquettes of a talib al-ilm, of a muta'allim, in his lessons, during his lessons, and what he's supposed to, how he's supposed to deal with his companions. Now, just a quick review of the adab that we had learned that the student must observe with his shaykh, or those adab pertaining to his shaykh, whether he's supposed to observe them with his shaykh, or whether he's supposed to employ them when selecting a shaykh for himself. So the first adab that the Musannif had mentioned was أنه ينبغي للطالب أن يقدم النظر ويستخير الله في من يأخذ العلم عنه. He should analyze, he should look into who he should learn from, who he should take up as a shaykh, and he should perform istikhara and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give him tawfiq to choose a shaykh who will be beneficial for him, from whom he can benefit in this dunya and the akhirah, from whom he can benefit in terms of the knowledge that he gains, and also in terms of the tazkiyah and suluk and iman that he would gain from his shaykh. Then the Musannif mentioned أن ينقاد لشيخه في أموره, that he should follow his shaykh in all the matters that the shaykh suggests to him and advises him with, and he should prefer the opinion of the shaykh over his own opinion because of his lack of experience, while his shaykh has greater experience than the talib ilm himself. ذكر في الأدب الثالث أن ينظره بعين الإجلال, that he should look towards him with reverence and veneration. He should give him utmost respect. نعم. And even when he is attending to the shaykh, he should observe the utmost adab with him. نعم. الرابع أن يعرف له حقه ولا ينسى له فضله, that he should acknowledge the right of his shaykh upon him and should not forget his favor that the shaykh has given to him by teaching him. And this is even outside of the majalis of ilm, outside of the gatherings of knowledge, that we should always remember the fadl of the shaykh. So if you meet him outside, مثلا, or you should often visit him and honor him. And when you meet him outside, مثلا, outside of a majlis of ilm, you give him a lot of respect and you honor him, etc. نعم. الخامس أن يصبر على جفوة تصدر من شيخه أو سوء خلق, that he should be patient if the sheikh يعني was harsh towards him in some instance, then he should be patient upon it, and he should not think that the sheikh يعني he is the one who is teaching me good khuluq, and he himself did not observe good khuluq, so I'm also going to react harshly to him. He is the one who should be perfect in his conduct, and I'm the one coming to learn. لا ما هكذا. لا, but you also should يعني look for an excuse for the sheikh, تأويل, and تلتمس له العذر, and يعني نعم, and excuse the sheikh for this harshness. Perhaps يعني he was يعني he had يعني a difficult time today. Perhaps something happened with him today. Perhaps it was my own mistake. Perhaps the sheikh misunderstood, etc. etc. نعم. كذلك مع الأبوين يعني at times even with parents يعني we tend to expect that our parents should behave in the perfect way 100%, and they cannot يعني be unjustly harsh towards us. They don't have the room to make a mistake, while we as the children يعني we can make a mistake, we can be harsh towards them, and then we can go back and apologize. لا, they are also يعني إنسان, so they can also make a mistake. They can be sometimes unjustly harsh towards you. Doesn't mean that you get the license to be harsh towards them or misbehave with them. Likewise with the sheikh يعني تصبر, you must be patient with regards to this. نعم. السادس ذكر أن يشكر الشيخ على توقيفه على ما فيه فضيلة وعلى توبيخه على ما فيه نقيصة. He should be thankful to the sheikh for pointing out for him or suggesting to him or advising him or guiding him towards something that is virtuous, some habit that is virtuous that he didn't have in himself before the sheikh told him about it, or the sheikh pointed out for him some يعني flaw that he had in his conduct, some flaw that he had in his character, and that he should be addressing. So that he should be thankful to the sheikh for this, so that the sheikh يعني يعني is cheered, and he is يعني he feels that يعني his nasiha has worked, and he in his heart becomes more open towards his student, and he would be more motivated to benefit his student. نعم. السابع قال أن لا يدخل على الشيخ في غير المجلس العام إلا باستئذان. That if it's any gathering other than the regular gathering of the sheikh, the المجلس العام, the general gathering, the general dars of the sheikh, then he should enter upon him only after asking for permission. And then he mentioned a number of adab. If the sheikh is talking to someone in his room, or مثلا the sheikh did not respond even though he might have heard your knock on the door, then you should go away, etc. نعم. ذكر في الثامن أن يجلس بين يدي الشيخ جلسة الأدب كما يجلس الصبي بين يدي المقرئ. يعني mentioned here the adab of sitting in front of the sheikh, and how he's supposed to observe a lot of humility, and he should يعني be tranquil and express his devotion and focus and concentration during the dars, and he should not be looking here and there, not turning towards the noises that are caused around the dars, etc. And he should be in short expressing all his focus and attention is that it is towards the sheikh. نعم. ذكر في التاسع أن يحسن خطابه مع الشيخ بقدر الإمكان. How to address the sheikh. Should address him in the best of ways. If he wants to correct him, he should correct him in the best of ways. Perhaps he should يعني put it to the sheikh in the form of a question, instead of يعني harshly correcting him, saying that no, this is wrong يا شيخ, هذا خطأ. لا ما هكذا. يقول يعني يا شيخ أليس الأمر كذا, isn't it like this, or isn't it يعني مثلا that this is more correct, وهكذا. ثم ذكر في العاشر إذا سمع الشيخ يذكر حكما في مسألة أو فائدة مستغربة ويحكي حكاية أو ينشد شعرا وهو يحفظ ذلك أصغى إليه إصغاء مستفيد له في الحال. If he hears the sheikh mentioning some fa'idah, some benefit, something that he already knows, he should pretend that he's hearing it for the first time. So the sheikh يعني would be as eager to benefit the students as he would be if يعني all the students did not know of that فائدة. But if the sheikh gets to know that يعني most of the students know this فائدة, then his eagerness is not as much as it is otherwise. نعم. Except if the sheikh is يعني testing his ability. If he's testing his ability, he wants to check whether someone knows this فائدة, then in this case he should and he must express that he does know it. However, he should still say that يعني I want to hear it from my sheikh. I would rather love to يعني hear it from the sheikh because it would be more accurate, etc. نعم. ذكر في 11 أن لا يسبق الشيخ إلى شرح مسألة أو جواب سؤال منه أو من غيره. يعني he should not be يعني competing with the sheikh and يعني explaining the mas'ala before the sheikh does, or يعني the sheikh hasn't yet completed the question and he answers it, or the sheikh is asking someone else a question and he answers it. This is all سوء أدب. This is all سوء أدب. ذكر في 12 إذا ناوله الشيخ شيئا تناوله باليمين. If the sheikh gives him something, he takes it with his right hand, and if he gives something to the sheikh, he also gives it with the right hand. Then he also mentioned here the adab of handing over a book to the sheikh. If you want the sheikh to read from a particular place, you point that particular paragraph or line to the sheikh. You hand over the book to the sheikh in such that it is easy for him to read from it, not that he has to turn it over and open the page, etc. If there is a paper that is supposed to be handed over to the sheikh, it should be handed over to him in while it is open, not folded, such that the sheikh has to open it up, etc. And he mentioned here something regards the prayer mat, and he said that the prayer mat, if he spreads the prayer mat for the sheikh, he's supposed to fold it from the top left corner. كعادة الصوفية, like it is the the habit or the custom of the Sufis. طبعا here if he's saying that if the musannif here means that it is something commended and required in the Sharia, then this is undoubtedly this would be incorrect. نعم. However, if the musannif here means that folding the prayer mat is a sign of it not being in use, sometimes it is nothing, no special virtue is associated with folding the prayer mat. It has just become a sign of the prayer mat being in use or not being in use. So if it is folded, it means that it's not being in use. It's not in use of anyone. And if it is not folded, it's unfolded, it means that someone is using the prayer mat and he is perhaps going for wudu, or he's just left for a couple of moments and he'll come back. So if it is from this bab, then inshallah la haraj, and there is no harm in folding the prayer mat, because it's something of a message that you are giving to those who are coming towards the prayer mat. However, if some special virtue, or it's considered something of a commendable custom that one should follow, then this undoubtedly should be avoided, because there is no special virtue associated with it. والله أعلم. طيب نقرأ الآن ونبدأ ونشرع في الأدب الثالث عشر. طبعا يا إخوان, here it's written الثالث عشر. Correct it and make it الثالث عشر. And in Nahu, all of these numbers, that is 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, they are always مبني على فتح الجزئين. We say in Nahu مبني على فتح الجزئين. Whether it is marfu' or mansub or majrur, it will always have a fatha at the end. So you'll say مثلا السؤال الحادي عشر والثاني عشر والثالث عشر والرابع عشر والخامس عشر وهكذا إلى التاسع عشر. Even though it is a na'at for something that is marfu', but it is always مبني على فتح الجزئين. This is how we say it in i'rab. مبني على فتح الجزئين. So this is a word that is made up of two parts. جزئين. الجزء الأول الثالث and الجزء الثاني العشرة. So we say مبني على فتح الجزئين. يعني the first part also has a fatha, the second part also has a fatha. It's always مبني على الفتحة, the first part and the second part, regardless of it being في محل رفع أو في محل نصب أو في محل جر. Regardless of it, it will always remain مبني على الفتح. نعم. طيب. قال المصنف رحمه الله إذا مشى مع الشيخ إذا مشى مع الشيخ فليكن أمامه بالليل ووراءه بالنهار إلا أن يقتضي الحال خلاف ذلك لزحمة أو غيرها. طيب. He says that if the student walks with his sheikh فليكن أمامه بالليل, he should be in front of him at night, ووراءه بالنهار, and behind him during the day. Why is this the case يا إخوان? Why أمامه بالليل ووراءه بالنهار? لماذا؟ Shouldn't the adab يعني be one at all times? How does the adab change during the day and night?
Maybe it's talking about when they used to walk at night at dark. So in terms of safety, the student should walk at
أحسنت
night.
أحسنت. يعني he should be in front of the sheikh at night because it is dark. So to save the sheikh from anything, any sort of dangers that might يعني they be subject to, etc. And in the daytime, when the sheikh himself is able to see, then we go back to the asl, we go back to the base rule, and the base rule is that the student should walk behind the sheikh. صح? The student should be behind. يعني this is the base adab. This is the basic principle when it comes to adab. That anyone who is elder to you or greater in you than you in stature, that you let him go in front. You let him go in front of you, and you stay behind him. You stay behind him, except if you are talking to him. If you're talking to him, then that's a different case. Otherwise, you stay behind him. Now, so فليكن أمامه بالليل, to save him, to protect him. ووراءه بالنهار, going back to the base rule, that is, you stay behind those who are greater than you in status. نعم. إلا أن يقتضي الحال خلاف ذلك, except if the condition, the state, يقتضي requires. إلا أن يقتضي to require, يعني إلا أن يطلب الحال خلاف ذلك, except if the conditions and the state requires something opposite to it. مثلا لزحمة. What is زحمة? Traffic, crowd. أحسنت. Except if there is a lot of crowd مثلا and during the day, then يعني it's better to protect the sheikh from the crowd and walk in front of him so that you can protect him from the crowd مثلا. أو غيرها يعني if there is some other reason. So the asl is, the base principle, that during the day you're supposed to walk behind him, during the night in front of him. What if يعني there are enough lights on the street during the night? Are you supposed to walk behind the sheikh or in front of him? And what will the adab require in this scenario?
Walking behind.
Walking behind, نعم, because now the sheikh, because of the street lamps, he can يعني manage his own way. So you go back to the asl, that you walk behind the sheikh. نعم. ويتقدم عليه في المواطئ المجهولة الحال. ويتقدم عليه في المواطئ المجهولة الحال. He should precede the sheikh. يتقدم to go in front, to go قدام يعني in front. يتقدم عليه في المواطئ. مواطئ جمع موطئ. مواطئ is the plural of موطئ. And how is موطئ written? موطئ is written هكذا. لحظة. موطئ. نعم. مواطئ جمع موطئ, and that means the place. كالمواطئ المجهولة. يعني this is اسم مكان from وطئ يطأ, from وطئ يطأ, and وطئ يطأ means to step somewhere. So موطئ is the place where you step, or generally where it's used to refer to a place, not exactly the place where you keep your feet on. Rather يعني generally it can be used to refer to any place where you are walking or you're going. نعم. كالمواطئ المجهولة الحال, unknown places that يعني whose condition is unknown, you don't know what's going to come there. مثلا كوحل, وحل, I'm not sure if it also comes with the fatha, but wahl with the sukun on the ha, wahl means mud, dirt, يعني in muddy places. In muddy places, يعني if you're walking in a muddy area, you don't know what is يعني under you. So there might be a rock, يعني there might be some dangers in the mud. So you walk in front of the shaykh so that you could protect him from such things. أو خوض, خوض, خاض يخوض, خاض الماء يخوضه, when you enter into a water stream or a river and you're walking in a watery place. أو خوض, so خاض يعني to enter into the water, to enter into the water. نعم. كوحل يعني mud, أو خوض يعني خوض means to enter into the water and walk into it. نعم. أو المواطئ الخطرة, or places that are dangerous. Like in these cases, you're supposed to walk in front of the sheikh in order to protect him. ويحترز, and he avoids. احترز يحترز, it's taken from حرز. حرز means protection. احترز, to take protection, يعني to avoid something. احترز من كذا, that he avoided, he abstained from something, يعني he protected himself from something. يحترز من, he should protect himself, يعني the student should protect himself from من ترشيش ثياب الشيخ. He should protect himself, يعني he should avoid sprinkling. The tarshish is from rush, and rush means to sprinkle something. رشش يرشش, to sprinkle something. ترشيش ثياب الشيخ, يعني you're walking in a muddy water مثلا, and you are walking with, يعني you're taking in يعني steps intensely such that all of the dirt is flying over to the clothes of the sheikh. Now this should be avoided. You should walk gently so that you could avoid يعني making the sheikh's clothes يعني dirty. وإذا كان في زحمة, and if he was in a crowd, صانه عنها ببدنه. صان, to protect him. صان يصون, to protect something, to preserve something. صان يصون عنها, صانه عنها. Who should he protect and what should he protect him from? What is صانه? Who is this who?
Sheikh.
The sheikh. عنها, from what? عن what?
From the crowd.
From the crowd. صانه عنها أي عن الزحمة ببدنه. He should protect him with his body. نعم. إما من قدامه, either from in front of the sheikh, أو من ورائه, or from behind the sheikh. طيب أحسنت يا مصطفى, الله يفتح لك. يقول المصنف رحمه الله: وإذا مشى أمامه التفت إليه بعد كل قليل. Now if he is walking in front of the sheikh, protecting him, التفت إليه بعد كل قليل. After a little while, every now and then he should look behind towards the sheikh. Why should he look behind towards the sheikh if he is walking in front of the sheikh? Why should he do so every now and then?
To just check like whether the sheikh is coming behind or not.
أحسنت. يعني he shouldn't go far away from the sheikh and forget the sheikh. Perhaps the sheikh stopped to talk to someone, etc. So then the whole purpose is lost. نعم. فإن كان وحده أو الشيخ يكلمه حالة المشي. Now if he is alone with the sheikh, or the sheikh is addressing him, he's talking to him. أو الشيخ يكلمه. كلمه يكلمه, to talk to someone. This is muta'addi. Okay. However, if you use the verb form takallama yatakallamu, then you have to use along with it some harf jar. You cannot make it muta'addi. So مثلا, if you want, and if there are two people, one is named Zaid, another one is named Amr. So you want to say Zayd talked to Amr, you can say كلم زيد عمرا. كلم زيد عمرا. It is متعدي. It makes the مفعول به منصوب by itself, right? However, if you use the word form تكلم, then you have to say تكلم زيد مع عمر. You cannot say تكلم زيد عمرا. لا ما يصح هذا. So remember this, كلم يكلم يعني مباشرة, you can say كلمه يكلمه. However, if you say تكلم, then you have to say تكلم معه, تكلم إليه, وهكذا. طيب. أو الشيخ يكلمه حالة المشي. Or the sheikh is talking to him while حالة المشي, while walking, وهما في ظل, while they are in a shade. فليكن عن يمينه. Then he should be towards his right. And the student should walk towards the right of the sheikh. وقيل عن يساره, and some have said that he should walk towards the left of the sheikh. يعني على كل حال both are يعني equal. والله أعلم. يعني both choose whichever is easier for the sheikh and for yourself. واليمين إن شاء الله أفضل. متقدما عليه قليلا لا ملتفتا إليه. So when the sheikh is talking to him, he should walk to the right of the sheikh, a little bit in front of him. متقدما عليه قليلا. Why should he be in front of the sheikh a little bit? Why should he be in front of the sheikh a little bit when the sheikh is talking to him? Why not in the same line as the sheikh? That is because when the sheikh is addressing him and he's a little bit in front of him, it's easier for the sheikh to look towards him. And if someone is walking at in يعني what angle will it be? 90 degrees? Huh? He's walking right in the same line as you, 180 degrees. Then it is more difficult for you to look towards him. You have to, or 90 degrees from you, then you have to turn your whole head towards him to address him. However, if he is مثلا at 60 degrees, then it is easier for the sheikh to address him, and he does not have to turn his head all of it 90 degrees. نعم. قليلا لا ملتفتا إليه. While the student is walking with the sheikh, he should not turn towards the sheikh, and he should not be looking at the sheikh. Why is this so? And he should not be staring at the sheikh. He's walking a little bit in front of him, but not staring at the sheikh. That is because when you stare at someone, it sort of requires him to also look at you when talking to you. However, مثلا, if you are walking with your sheikh and you look towards the ground, مثلا, you're looking on the floor while you're walking, the sheikh wouldn't be obliged to also look at you when talking to you. So he will also be looking towards the way, the pathway that you're walking on, and he will find it easy to address you. However, if you're staring at the sheikh will also feel obliged that he has to stare at you, and this will be tiresome for the sheikh. نعم. قال ويعرف الشيخ بمن يقرب منه أو قصده من الأعيان إن لم يعلم الشيخ به. And he should also introduce the sheikh, or introduce someone who has come close by to the sheikh. يقرب منه, someone who has passed by or who's come close to the sheikh. He should introduce him to the sheikh, tell the sheikh who he is. أو قصده من الأعيان, or someone is seeking the sheikh, someone particular. أعيان, any particular people are coming to the sheikh. They are seeking him, and the sheikh does not know who it is, so he should be the one introducing him and telling the sheikh who it is. Now, this is the adab of walking with your sheikh. Now, قال رحمه الله ولا يمشي إلى جانب الشيخ إلا لحاجة أو إشارة منه. Now he comes back to the asl. Now, if the sheikh is talking to you, you walk along with him towards the right, a little bit in front of him. However, if the sheikh is not talking to you, you go back to the asl, and the asl is to walk behind the sheikh. ولا يمشي إلى جانب الشيخ. You should not walk along with the sheikh on the side of the sheikh. He should not be doing that. إلا لحاجة, except for some requirement, some need, أو إشارة منه, or because the shaykh has asked him to do so. ويحترز. What is the meaning of يحترز? Avoid, أحسنت, and it's taken from احتراز. احتراز يحترز, to avoid and to protect yourself from something. ويحترز, he should avoid. What should he avoid? من مزاحمته, by pushing the shaykh, مزاحمة, to make the space overcrowded, and pushing the shaykh بكتفه, with his shoulder مثلا, أو بركابه, or with his knees. إن كانا راكبين, if they both are riding. وملاصقة ثيابه, and by sticking his clothes to the shaykh's clothes. لصق يلصق, to stick something to and it means something has stuck to another. ملاصقة, to make it stick to another by or letting it touch. So if you are riding with your shaykh in a car مثلا, so you should give the shaykh a lot of space, and you should not be overcrowding the space and cramming the shaykh up. Rather, you should give him lots of space, and try your best and strive that you don't push the shaykh with your shoulders or with your knees, or your two clothes don't touch those of the shaykh. ويؤثره بجهة الظل في الصيف. What is the meaning of آثره يؤثره? آثره يؤثره. آثر يؤثر. What is the meaning of إيثار? آثر يؤثر إيثار. آثر يؤثر means to give preference to someone or something. To prefer someone or something. يؤثره, he should prefer the shaykh. He should give preference to the shaykh. In what? بجهة الظل في الصيف. If we are sitting in some place and there are two sides, one is shaded, another one is not shaded. So you should give the shaykh the preference. You should let him take the side that is shaded. وبجهة الشمس في الشتاء. And if it is winters, في الصيف, it is summer, you should give him the shaded side. If it is winters, then you should give him the side where there is sunlight, so that he can feel warm. وبجهة الجدار, and you should let the shaykh walk on the side where there is the wall. في الرصفانات ونحوها. رصفانات. What are رصفانات? الرصفان is when there used to be houses, and along the houses there would be a staircase like this that would take you to the floor above. Let's say the house is 2 floors, so there would be a staircase along the house, or not. So this staircase wouldn't have any railings to help you climb the stairs. So you should give the side towards the wall, so that the shaykh might not fall off the stairs, you see. And you yourself should walk on the right side, مثلا in our example, so that you are the one who's protecting the shaykh from falling off, and you are the one risking yourself and not risking the shaykh. So this is rusfan. Rusfanat, this sort of a staircase that is along the side of the house that takes you to the next floor, or to the roof of the house. نعم. وبالجهة التي لا تقرع الشمس فيها وجهه إذا التفت إليه. And he also should give shaykh should give preference to the shaykh, and give him the side where the sun would not beat on his face if he turns towards him. So مثلا the shaykh is sitting in a shade. However, if he turns towards you, the sun would beat on his face, and it would come into his eyes. So if that is the case, you should sit on the other side, such that if the shaykh turns towards you, he would not be troubled by the sunlight. نعم. قال رحمه الله ولا يمشي لحظة. نعم. قال رحمه الله ولا يمشي بين الشيخ وبين من يحدثه. ويتأخر عنهما إذا تحدثا أو يتقدم. He should not walk between his shaykh and the one whom he is talking to. Let's say the shaykh is talking to someone else. He should not walk in between them two. ويتأخر عنهما. Rather, he should stay behind. He should stay back from these two. إذا تحدث, when they are talking. أو يتقدم, or he should go forwards and يعني let them both speak to each other. ولا يقرب ولا يقرب ولا يستمع ولا يلتفت. He should not come close to them. He should not listen to them. He should not turn towards them. فإن أدخلاه في الحديث, if they invite him and admit him into their conversation, فليأتي من جانب آخر, then he should come from the other side. جانب آخر ولا يشق بينهما, and he should not come in between them. So if he is invited into the conversation, he should come from the right or the left side and not from the middle. نعم. وإذا مشى, all of these إخوان, if you could, you can observe that these are things that you might know through your fitra. If you have a fitra salima, and if you intend to observe ample adab with any of your elders, you will notice these are things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in your fitra, and you automatically, subhanallah, try to avoid these. But sometimes some people are neglectful or they're not cautious enough, so they're needed to, it is required to bring their attention to these matters specifically. Mostly the people understand this by themselves because they know that some negative feeling might go through, or it might be conveyed, or مثلا this would be considered as مثلا ill-mannered. You realize it by yourself usually, but sometimes because of neglect, it is required to remind one. now قال رحمه الله وإذا مشى مع الشيخ اثنان فاكتنفاه. If two are walking with the sheikh, two people are walking with the sheikh, فاكتنفاه. اكتنف يكتنف means to walk, to surround someone, and here it means that they are walking on his right and left sides, and they have surrounded him from his right and left sides. اكتنف means to surround something. اكتنفاه, they both have surrounded him, they are walking on his right and left sides. فقد رجح بعضهم, some of them have preferred and considered this as a more sound opinion. What have they considered a more sound opinion? أن يكون أكبرهما عن يمينه, that the elder one of these two should be on the right side of the sheikh. وإن لم يكتنفاه, and if they're not surrounding the sheikh from his two sides, تقدم أكبرهما, the elder one of the two should be in front of the sheikh. وتأخر أصغرهما, while the one who is younger should be behind the sheikh. وإذا صادف الشيخ في طريقه بدأه بالسلام. If he happens to, صادف يصادف, وجد الشيخ, he has found the sheikh, and he has happened to find him, he has happened to meet him. وإذا صادف الشيخ في طريقه, if he happens to meet the sheikh on his way, بدأه بالسلام, he should be the one initiating the salam. ويقصده إن كان بعيدا, he should be the one seeking the sheikh and moving towards him. إن كان بعيدا, if the sheikh is far away. ولا يناديه ولا يسلم عليه من بعيد, he should not call the sheikh or say salam to him from far away. He should not say يا شيخ سلام عليكم, لا, ما يصلح. Go near the sheikh and give your salams to him. ولا من ورائه, he should not say salam to the sheikh from behind him, rather get to the sheikh and then say salam to him. بل يقرب منه ويتقدم عليه ثم يسلم, should get close to the sheikh, get in front of him, and then he should say salam to the sheikh. نعم. قال رحمه الله ولا يشير عليه ابتداء بالأخذ في طريق حتى يستشيره. He should not advise or suggest to the sheikh by himself, ابتداء, without being asked. ابتداء, he should not advise and suggest the way to the sheikh. مثلا, if you are going with your sheikh somewhere, You should not be the one who would suggest which way to take without being asked for it. Okay? بالأخذ في طريق حتى يستشيره. What is the meaning of استشار يستشير? What is the meaning of استشار يستشير?
He seeks direction.
He seeks direction. يعني he seeks إشارة. ألف سين تاء. ألف سين تاء means طلب. طلب الإشارة. استشار يستشير to ask for إشارة. So he seeks direction. He should not be the one directing the sheikh or suggesting the directions unless the sheikh asks him for it. And that is why consultation in Arabic is called al-istishara, yeah? Because you are seeking direction from someone. ويتأدب فيما يستشيره الشيخ بالرد إلى رأيه. And he should also observe adab in the matter in which the sheikh has sought his direction and has consulted him. How should he observe adab? بالرد إلى رأيه. By turning the matter back towards the opinion of the sheikh. يعني مثلا, the sheikh asks you what way to take. You say, sheikh, take right from here and then left. And the rest is up to you. And it's up to you, sheikh. And you can say, I see a sheikh that if we take right from here and then left, it will be more beneficial for us. But it is up to you, sheikh. You are in a better position to decide, or it is better that you decide. Yani, you should turn the matter back towards the opinion of the sheikh. And he should not say, وَلَا يَقُولْ لِمَا رَآهُ الشَّيْخُ وَكَانَ خَطَأً. If the sheikh, what the sheikh was suggesting was khata, was wrong, he should not call it هذا خطأ. يا شيخ أنت ما تعرف. هذا خطأ. ولا, he should not say either هذا ليس برأي. This is no opinion. يعني this is an opinion that is not worthy of being mentioned. لا ما هكذا. بل يحسن خطابه. Should gently say to the sheikh. He should gently address the sheikh في الرد إلى الصواب, by bringing him back to the correct opinion by saying يظهر أن المصلحة في كذا. It seems that it is more of our interest, المصلحة, it's more of our interest in taking such and such a way. هكذا. ولا يقول الرأي عندي كذا. My opinion or the correct opinion according to me is this. لا ما هكذا. لا هكذا. ما هكذا يشير على الشيخ. This is not the way to direct the sheikh by saying that this is the correct opinion and this is what the sheikh should be accepting. نعم. طيب. هذه الآداب كلها يعني يعرف الواحد يعرفها الواحد. يعني person knows these adab mostly. It's just that يعني some people require to be reminded of these at times. Otherwise يعني these are not being extracted from the nusus. These are all being extracted from the a'raf, from the customs of the people. You know, the musannif here, he's not يعني for each of these adab that he's mentioning here, he's not يعني relying upon some hadith or some text from the Quran. لا, it's all from the urf. What seems to be يعني ample etiquettes and manners, and what seems to be ill-mannered, this is how he's judging. And people who have the utmost hikmah, who have been given hikmah, who've been given the knowledge of the Quran and Sunnah, who know يعني how they're supposed to revere the scholars, they are in the best position to teach us يعني how and what to follow يعني and how to deal with our مشايخ. نعم. قال رحمه الله: الفصل الثالث في آدابه في دروسه وقراءته في الحلقة. الفصل الثالث is related to the etiquettes in his during the lessons في دروسه وقراءته في الحلقة, and how he should be reading upon his sheikh in the halqa, يعني in the dars, in the majlis, وما يعتمده فيها مع الشيخ والرفقة, and what are the things that he should take into consideration with his sheikh and his companions والرفقة. نعم. هنا أيضا سيذكر 13 نوعا. Here as well he will be mentioning 13 types of adab. نعم. وهو قال رحمه الله وهو 13 نوعا. Okay, this 13 is khabar. Why is it mansub? Why is it mansub?
If you just mentioned in the beginning that the numbers are mansub twice.
لا بس ما هو بالمنصوب. We wouldn't say it's mansub. Rather we would say
No, it's not mansub. It's not mansub. It's not necessary, but it will be fatha.
أحسنت. We will say مبني على فتح الجزئين. Write it down, everyone. مبني على فتح الجزئين. Whether it is the what is it called? The ordinal numbers? 4th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, or it is the numbers itself, the regular numbers 11, 12, 13, 14. يعني from 11 until 19 it is always مبني على فتح الجزئين. مبني على فتح الجزئين. هكذا نعرف. This is how we mention in the إعراب. مبني على فتح الجزئين. And there is يعني an exception to it, and that is the number 12. The 12 is mu'rab. It's جزء الأول. Its first part is mu'rab. So you would say هؤلاء 12 رجلا ورأيت 12 رجلا ومررت ب12 رجلا. Except this, all are مبني على فتح الجزئين. 11 13 14 15 وهكذا. Regardless of it being what numbers to what numbers? نعم, 11 to 19. And with the exception of 12, because in 12 the first part is mu'rab and the second part is also mabni ala al-fatha. The rest all are mabni ala fath al-juz'ain. And the rest, both the parts are mabni ala al-fath. نعم. قال رحمه الله الأول أن يبتدئ أولا بكتاب الله العزيز فيتقنه حفظا. The first adab when it comes to his lessons, when it comes to what he should choose for himself, what he should be studying, what he should be reading, where should he start from, the shaykh says, the musannif says that he should first start with the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَيُتْقِنَهُ حِفْظًا. He should memorize it with a firm memorization. إتقان with إتقان, his memorization should be firm. وَيَجْتَهِدَ عَلَى إِتْقَانِ تَفْسِيرِهِ. He should also strive in mastering the tafsir and the rest of the sciences related to the Quran. وَسَائِرِ عُلُومِهِ أي عُلُومِ القرآن. So he should first master the Quran in terms of its memorization, and then he should master its tafsir and the rest of the ulum of the Quran that are related to it. Why is that the case? قال رحمه الله فإنه أصل العلوم وأمها وأهمها. It is the basis of all of the sciences. وأمها وأهمها. What is the meaning of
Source.
The source. Okay. Can you think of another meaning for Source is أصل ولا لا؟
نعم.
يعني لماذا سميت مكة أم القرى؟ ولماذا قال الله عز وجل للآيات المحكمات هن أم الكتاب؟
Like you return to it.
أحسنت, you refer back to it. أمها, this is what all of the sciences refer back to, return to. أمها, something that you return and go back to, refer back to. وأهمها, and the most important of it. ثم يحفظ في كل فن مختصرا يجمع فيه بين طرفيه. Then after finishing the Quran, he should memorize in every science a concise text مختصرا, يعني متنا مختصرا. يجمع فيه بين طرفيه, gathering its two sides. This is an expression used to it refers to finishing the book. يجمع فيه بين طرفيه, طرفيه the two sides of the book. So he should finish, he should gather both sides of the book. He shouldn't be starting the book and then leaving it midway. Rather, he should start it and then finish it. يجمع بين طرفيه. He should have both the beginning and the ending of the book. Both of them should be memorized. Whatever is between them should be memorized by him. من الحديث, whether it is related to hadith, وعلومه, علوم الحديث. علوم الحديث المصطلح, how to تخريج الحديث, how to judge whether hadith is sahih or da'if, etc. All of these sciences that help and that يعني, contribute to the science of hadith. وَالْأُصُولَيْنِ. What is meant by al-usulayn? ما هما الأصولان؟ At least mention one usul.
أصول الفقه أصول
طيب.
التفسير.
أصول الفقه, and you can notice that he hasn't mentioned aqidah here. So one of the usul here refers to the aqidah, that is usul al-din. So usul al-din and usul al-fiqh. These are the two usuls meant here. Al-usulayn, al-usul al-awwal, أصول الدين يعني العقيدة. أصول الدين عقيدة, fundamentals of the deen يعني عقيدة. And أصول الفقه, the second one is أصول الفقه. نعم. والنحو والتصريف. النحو and تصريف. What is تصريف?
صرف.
صرف. نعم. أحسنت. سهل هذا. طيب. ولا يشتغل بذلك كله. طيب أوكي يعني here يا إخوان مثلا someone starts seeking knowledge يعني during يعني at a later part in his life. Is he also supposed to يعني not study anything until he finishes the Quran, or is he يعني supposed to take the other sciences along with the Quran? What is the best for such a person? مثلا who starts seeking knowledge at the age of 30, مثلا 35. So what? How is he supposed to start, ya ikhwan? Even 25.
Take the Quran and the rest simultaneously.
Yes, simultaneously. This is, ya ikhwan, and what the shaykh is mentioning here is the scenario for those who start seeking knowledge at a very young age, مثلا at 7, 8, 9, 10. So he has the time to start and focus fully on the Quran. All of his focus should be on the Quran. However, when you start seeking knowledge at a later stage in your life, then there are a lot of wajibat that you need to learn about. You cannot you cannot spend the whole time on Quran while you don't know the ahkam of tahara, you don't know the ahkam of zakah, you don't know the ahkam of salah, you don't know the ahkam of hajj and siyam. These are all wajibat. So you need to focus on them as well at the same time. So what is advised by the scholars for such people who start at a later stage in their life is that they must invest some time in the Quran. They must memorize the Quran. This is inevitable. It's a must. It is extremely important for talib al-ilm. However, they should also take other sciences along with the Quran because they need it. They need it every day. This is a requirement to fulfill their servitude for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if they remain ignorant of the ahkam that they require at the earliest, then they might fall into sin. They might even fall into sin. So they should take the Quran along with the other sciences as well. So most of us here, مثلا, currently, if they haven't yet memorized the Quran, then we might find ourselves being preoccupied with the different roles that we have to fulfill in our lives. In a family, we need to earn the bread for the family, etc. So in this case, you should invest some time in the Quran and also some other time in the other sciences. And not all of the focus should be only on the Quran. Rather, you should also be focusing on other sciences as well. However, when it comes to your kids, مثلا, or those who are young, then they can tell their kids when they're 10, مثلا, 11, 12, that they can focus completely on the Quran until they finish it within a year or 2 or 3, and then they can move on to the rest of the sciences. And even in this case, he should be getting some, he should be introduced to the other sciences, even if most of his focus is on the Quran, and there should be 20% focus on other sciences as well, like aqidah, like a bit of fiqh, مثلا, so that he knows the ahkam of tahara, he knows the beliefs of Ahlul Sunnah, etc. Now, so it's all about يعني what is the most efficient when it comes to your akhirah. Now, for a 10-year-old, he has all the time, يعني generally, so he can يعني seek the greater goal, that is to memorize first, since he has a lot of free time in that age, and then he can move on to the sciences that require understanding and fahm, because hifz is usually يعني difficult when you are preoccupied. So يعني this is, you have to manage these, and there is no hard and fast rule when it comes to the hifz, managing hifz and fahm. نعم. قال ولا يشتغل بذلك كله عن دراسة القرآن وتعهده وملازمة ورد منه كل يوم أو أيام أو جمعة كما تقدم. يعني if he is يعني here the Shaykh mentioned after memorizing the Quran and mastering tafsir. By mastering tafsir يعني mastering a mukhtasar tafsir, not like you become an imam in the tafsir then you move on to the next ulum. You cannot become an imam in the tafsir without the other ulum. By this he mentions by knowing generally the meanings of the Quran, the meanings of the Quran. So after moving on to the other sciences, he says ولا يشتغل بذلك كله, he should not busy himself with all of it such that he ignores the Quran, عن دراسة القرآن. يعني he should not turn towards it fully and turn away from the study of the Quran. وتعهده وملازمة ورد منه, and from reviewing the Quran, تعهد يتعهد, to review the Quran. وملازمة ورد منه, and adhering to a word. Word is يعني a certain amount that is read every day, that is recited every day, or every 2 days, every 3 days, يعني a certain amount that you're supposed to finish in a certain time. طيب, this is the word. So ورد منه كل يوم, either you have a word for every day, or you have every 2-3 days, or every جمعة. يعني you have some word that you have to finish. وليحذر من نسيانه بعد حفظه, and he should beware of forgetting the Quran after having memorized it. فقد ورد فيه أحاديث تزجر عنه. There are a lot of ahadith that have been mentioned which rebuke and warn from يعني warn against forgetting the Quran after having memorized it. The ahadith that are mentioned with regards to forgetting the Quran after having memorized it, all of the ahadith with regards to this are da'if. And the best in terms of its sihha, in terms of the authenticity, the best that we have is some of the athar from the tabi'een, like Muhammad ibn Sirin and others. يعني. We have some athar from the tabi'een which warn us against forgetting the Quran after having memorized. But the ahadith generally, when it comes to this topic, they are all da'if. However, for certain, this is a matter that is considered as disliked, something that is blameworthy, condemnable, that you forget the Quran after having memorized it. It's not something, if there are no sahih ahadith, it doesn't mean that it is something that is fine. No, it is still very, very blameworthy, and one should at all costs avoid it. Naam. Tasjuru means, zajara yasjuru means rebuke and admonish. And when he uses anhu, tasjuru anhu, and there is also a an element of warning in it. By the usage of this harf jar an, there is an element that is also referring to warning against. So rebuking, admonishing, and warning against it. Now, قال رحمه الله ويشتغل بشرح تلك المحفوظات على المشايخ. He should engage in learning the explanation of those memorized texts على المشايخ, from the مشايخ. And he should engage in learning the explanation from whom? From the مشايخ. وليحذر من الاعتماد في ذلك على الكتب ابتداء. And he should beware relying solely upon the books initially. And initially, the books are not where you take the explanations from. Rather, it is the mashayikh and the mouths of the mashayikh where you are supposed to receive the explanation of these texts from. Why? Because when you are a student in your initial stages, you tend to make a lot of mistakes in understanding the texts and understanding what is written in the books. You might notice it yourself that initially you read something and you thought it to mean something while it turned out to be another, and this happens a lot at the initial stages of talab al-ilm. Later on, when you get used to reading a lot of books, then subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens your heart for it, and you become, or you start understanding it in a better way. So initially it should be the mashayikh whom you should rely upon to understand the texts and take and receive the explanations from the mashayikh. Because if you have some doubt, you can ask the shaykh, and the shaykh can adjust according to your level. نعم. بل يعتمد في كل فن من هو أحسن تعليما له. He should rely in every field upon someone who is أحسن تعليما له, who is greater and better in the teaching method for him, وأكثر تحقيقا فيه, and he is the most the person with the most amount of research, تحقيقا فيه وتحصيلا منه, and he is the one with the most amount of ilm acquired. حصل يحصل, to acquire something, so he has the most ilm that he has acquired in that field. وأخبرهم بالكتاب الذي قرأه, and he is the most experienced and most well versed with the book that he is reading. He's the most well versed with the book that he is reading. وذلك بعد مراعاة الصفات المقدمة من الدين والصلاح والشفقة وغيرها. That is after taking into consideration the other characteristics that have been mentioned before in the previous chapters, that his shaykh should be someone who is religious, someone who has a lot of piety, someone who has compassion, etc. فإن كان شيخه لا يجد من قراءته وشرحه على غيره معه فلا بأس بذلك. What does the shaykh mean here? فإن كان شيخه لا يجد من قراءته وشرحه على غيره معه. لا يجد ماذا؟ If a shaykh does not find dash من قراءته وشرحه على غيره, he does not find any dash in the student reading and learning from someone else along with him. لا يجد حرجا, لا يجد بأسا, he does not find any harm, and he is not مثلا disturbed by the fact that you are also benefiting at the same time from another shaykh that is his contemporary, and you're learning from him the same matan. If he is comfortable with it, فلا بأس بذلك, there is no harm in it. وإلا, otherwise, else, راعى قلب شيخه إن كان أرجاهم نفعا, he should take into consideration and the heart of his shaykh and the feelings of his shaykh إن كان أرجاهم نفعا, if he's the more beneficial of the two. So مثلا, this is natural. Sometimes the shaykh feels disturbed and uncomfortable by the fact that you are also learning and benefiting in the very same field from someone else along with him. So if that is the case, that if he's feeling uncomfortable, مثلا, feeling disturbed by it, then he should stick to the one that is more beneficial for him, and not and cease to attend to the other one, so that the shaykh opens towards him more and benefits him more. Because usually when the mashayikh, they feel uncomfortable, they tend to not benefit you as much as they would if they are more comfortable with you, and they would spend their ikhlas, and they would spend their all their effort for you if they are comfortable with you. لأن ذلك أنفع له, because that is more beneficial for him. وأجمع لقلبه عليه, and it would gather the heart and the feelings of the shaykh for the student more than otherwise. أجمع لقلبه, أجمع the shaykh will have in more intense feelings for the student, and he would have more ikhlas and more eagerness to benefit the student than otherwise. وليأخذ من الحفظ وشرح ما يمكنه ويطيق حاله. He should take from the حفظ, the مقرر of his حفظ and شرح. Every day مثلا he takes a certain amount of lines that he is memorizing and learning the explanation of. The amount that he should be taking should be something that is possible for him. ما يمكنه ويطيقه حاله. يطيقه أطاق يطيق, and to be able to do something. That his state, in his condition, the state in which the student is, it's bearable for him. He's able to do it. من غير إكثار يمل, without increasing the amount too much, such that you grow bored. يمل. أمل يمل, to make something, to cause something to become bored. ولا تقصير يخل بجودة التحصيل, and the amount shouldn't be so less that it causes it defects in the acquiring of knowledge. نعم. قال رحمه الله: الثاني أن يحذر في ابتداء أمره من الاشتغال في الاختلاف بين العلماء أو بين الناس مطلقا في العقليات والسمعيات. He should beware initially, in the initial stages, from engaging in اختلاف بين العلماء, engaging in the differences amongst the scholars. أو بين الناس مطلقا, not just the scholars, but the people generally. في العقليات والسمعيات. What are عقليات? What are سمعيات? ما هي العقليات وما هي السمعيات؟ ما هي العقليات؟ ما هي السمعيات؟
Textual matters and logical matters.
ما سمعتك يا مصطفى. Can you repeat it?
No, Sheikh, I said perhaps textual and logical matters.
Textual and logical matters. نعم. عقليات those matters related to the understanding, to logic. والسمعيات textual, مثلا things that are narrated as they are, like the Quran, the Hadith, narrated as they are, the words. So لا في العقليات ولا في السمعيات. So مثلا not engaging oneself too much in the understanding, in the explanation of a particular hadith. ترى العلماء اختلفوا في شرح هذا الحديث، بعضهم قال كذا وبعضهم قال كذا وبعضهم قال كذا وهناك 5 أقوال في شرح كذا. لا. You take one qawl at that time, at that stage, whatever the shaykh has given you, and you suffice with it at that stage. نعم. والسمعيات مثلا هذا الحديث مثلا مختلف في صحته, if this hadith, this is how it has been narrated, or there is another version of it, or there are other alfaz, other wordings that are narrated, which one is more strong? لا. Take what the shaykh has given to you at that stage and move on with it, suffice with it, stick to it, and then later on you can inshallah get into the more deep stuff. فإنه يحير الذهن ويدهش العقل. Why is this the case? Because it astonishes the mind. ويدهش العقل and the intellect. So what happens is that when you become so confused, you don't know where to go. You are clueless with all of this اختلاف, what to follow and what to leave. And this is the case مثلا if you want to experience this, take a bab of fiqh that you haven't studied before. Any bab, any chapter of fiqh that you haven't studied before. Okay, any one chapter, 2 mas'alas, let's say two issues that you haven't studied before. And read all of the ikhtilaf of the ulama that is there pertaining to this mas'ala or these 2 masail. And after reading all of the differences of opinion, observe where do you stand, look where do you stand, and how confused you will be with regards to what to take and what to leave, which one is true, which one is not true, or which one even was the more stronger of these opinions. So at the initial stage, if you are fed with a lot of differences of opinion, you even forget the strongest of opinion, which one was the more sound opinion, or which one was the opinion preferred by your shaykh, etc. So much that sometimes even in Aqidah, ikhwan. Now what happens is that the people join these seminaries, these madaris, sometimes at a stage, at bachelor's level, while they have no background of ilm. What is the first book that are being taught in Aqidah? They are being taught al-Aqidah al-Tahawiyya. MashaAllah. طيب. What do we have in the Sharh of al-Aqidah al-Tahawiyya? We have a number of opinions being mentioned. The Ahlul Sunnah say this, the Karramiyya say this, Ash'ariyya say this, Maturidiyya say this, Al-Mu'tazila say so, Al-Khawarij kada, Wal-Murji'a kada. طيب. Okay, after 1 year you ask him, what is the stance of Ahlul Sunnah with regard to this mas'ala? And he would be clueless, because he was bombarded with lots of opinions, such that he forgot to filter out for himself the opinion, at least the opinion of Ahlul Sunnah. So he, at the end of the day, turned out to be clueless about the Aqidah, the correct Aqidah. And if that is the case with Aqidah, this is the most dangerous, ya ikhwan. Aqidah is something that is important for our Akhirah. So you don't even know what the correct stance of Ahlul Sunnah is with regards to such important masail, then this is troublesome and it's problematic. Now, so here he says, جزاه الله خير, المصنف يقول هنا بل يتقن أولا كتابا واحدا. He first should master one book في فن واحد, in one science, in one field, in one branch of knowledge, أو كتبا في فنون, or number of books in various sciences and branches of knowledge, إن كان يحتمل ذلك, if he is able to do so. على طريقة واحدة, in one way. in one way, what does he mean by طريقة واحدة? على قول واحد, upon one single opinion, and بالكثير, 2 opinions, يرتضيها له شيخه, that his shaykh is pleased with, that his shaykh agrees to. طيب, why did I say 2 opinions? Because sometimes the book that you are being taught might not mention the correct opinion when it comes to مثلا the Aqidah, or when it comes to the fiqh. مثلا, there is a hadith that goes against this opinion that is mentioned in the book. Now, why are you studying that book in particular? Studying that book because it is very beneficial, the way it has been organized, the way the ulama have focused on it, the way they have explained it, how they have spent most of their efforts in explaining this book. So that is why some books are important, because they are the ones relied upon by the ulama. But it doesn't necessarily mean that all that they contain is true and correct. So if that is the case, then it is important for the shaykh to tell you the correct opinion. Why? Because when you learn fiqh and aqidah, then this is deen. You take the deen from it, and you cannot avoid acting upon what you learn. If you are learning fiqh from someone, you cannot avoid saying, okay, right now I am only sticking to the madhab. Right now I will not act upon anything that I learned here. This is not possible. If you are learning your deen, you have this urge to act upon what you have learned. Number 2, that opinion that was mentioned to you first, whether it's correct or wrong, it will always remain in your head. It will always remain in your head. That first meaning, the first time you heard about the mas'ala and the opinion that you heard with regards to it, that will always remain in your head. So it better be the most sound opinion, and especially if the opinion mentioned by the book goes very clearly against the dalil. Now, someone might say, no, ya akhi, tara kutub al-fiqh, they always have some dalil. Naam, there is always some dalil for what they mention. However, there are some other opinions that are stronger in dalil, and their soundness is evident and very clear when compared to the other opinions. So it is not true that there aren't no marjuh opinions mentioned in any book of fiqh. There are always some opinions that are very far-fetched, and the dalil explicitly goes against them. Sometimes it happens. This is the reality. So if that is the case, the Shaykh should give you the correct opinion so that you take it up as your deen. نعم. قال رحمه الله فإن كانت طريقه فاستغفر الله فإن كانت طريقة شيخه نقل المذاهب. You can correct this and make it منصوب as it is. خبر كان. فإن كانت طريقة شيخه نقل المذاهب والاختلاف ولم يكن له رأي واحد. If the methodology of a sheikh was to mention the different schools and the different opinions and the difference of opinion amongst the scholars, ولم يكن له رأي واحد, and he did not mention to him one opinion, قال الغزالي فليحذر منه فإن ضرره أكثر من النفع به. So he should beware him because his harm is greater than the benefit. Why? Because of what we have mentioned before, that you will end up not remembering a single opinion, and you will feel totally clueless and lost when it comes to amal. نعم. قال رحمه الله وكذلك يحذر في ابتداء طلبه من المطالعات في تفاريق المصنفات. He should also beware in the initial stages of his pursuit of ilm from reading مطالعات in different books. Initially reading in this book and that book, and فإنه يضيع زمانه ويفرق ذهنه, because it will waste his time and it will scatter his mind. It will scatter his mind and divide it, and he will not be able to focus on one thing. بل يعطي الكتاب الذي قرأه أو الفن الذي يأخذه كليته حتى يتقنه. Rather, he should give all of himself to the book that he has read and to the field or branch of knowledge or science that he is taking from his sheikh. He should give all of himself to it until he masters it. وكذلك يحذر من التنقل من كتاب إلى كتاب من غير موجب. He should also beware from moving from one book to another without any valid reason. فإنه علامة الضجر وعدم الفلاح, because it is a reason it is the sign of impatience and absence of success. وعدم الفلاح. And this is very important, يا إخوان. Even if you get to know some book that is more beneficial than the one you are working or the one that you are engaging in learning its explanation, stick to the book that you are working on right now. Why, ya ikhwan? So that you train yourself, you train your nafs to that when you start some project, you end it. Otherwise, what happens, ya ikhwan, is that if your nafs becomes used to starting things and leaving it midway, you will never be able to complete any project or goal in your life. So it is, especially in the initial stages, if you train yourself and get yourself used to the habit that when you start a project, you don't move from it until you end it, this is absolutely essential. This is absolutely essential. If at the initial stages you start a book with a sheikh, then you leave the dars midway, and then you move on to another book with another sheikh, and then you leave it midway and move on to another book with another sheikh. There is a dawrah in this masjid, and then you have a dawrah in another masjid, and in all of the places you have left the book midway, then this way, ikhwan, you will never get your nafs used to finishing things. If you have started something, always get yourself to finish it, even if it is not as beneficial as the other project or other dawrah or other course that is going on. La. As long as you've started this course, continue with it until you finish it. Because if you get into the habit of leaving things midway, then this will make you suffer your whole life. This is true for teaching, for studying as well as for teaching. When you're teaching someone some book, then finish that book. Don't leave it midway. Otherwise, you will suffer your whole life with this disorder of leaving things midway. Shaykh Shahid says, if there is dalil, an opinion is very, very strong, but not in line with dalil. كيف how can this opinion be very strong if it is not in line with the dalil? I did not understand. Sheikh Shahid, if you can explain this a little more. Jazakallah khair. قال المصنف رحمه الله أما إذا تحققت أهليته وتأكدت معرفته. As for when his qualification أهليته is taken from أهل, and أهل of something is the person who is qualified for it. أهليته, his qualification. تحققت, it has become a reality. يعني he has really become someone who's qualified. وتأكدت معرفته, and his knowledge is firm. تأكد, it has become firm. فالأولى ألا يدع فنا من العلوم الشرعية إلا نظر فيه. Then the most preferred option for him is that he should not leave any of the sciences of Sharia except that he has a look into it and he studies something from it. فإن ساعده القدر وطول العمر, if the destiny and is at his side and it helps him, and his يعني, a long life helps him. يعني, by this he means that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has destined for him to live a long life, such that it helps him to gain تبحر فيه. تبحر means to يعني, master something and to يعني, encompass it in knowledge. It's taken from بحر. تبحر يعني to, as if to bathe in that ilm, in the information and in the knowledge of that science. يعني, you become a بحر of that science. So if your long life, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it easy for you, then you should do so. وإلا فقد استفاد منه ما يخرج به من عداوة الجهل بذلك العلم. Otherwise, at least يعني, he has benefited from that ilm so much that he exits and leaves عداوة الجهل, the enmity of ignorance, by taking that amount of knowledge. يعني, by this the Shaykh means that you should learn something or some amount from every science of Sharia. If you have the opportunity to master it, then you should do so. If you don't, then at least you cannot be manipulated, and you cannot be يعني يعني ما تؤتى من جهته, ما تؤتى من قبله. Then you will not be يعني exploited because of your ignorance of this science of knowledge. So مثلا رجل, there is a person who is a master of fiqh, mashallah. يعني, he is master in inferring the rulings from the text of the Quran and Sunnah, and has usul al-fiqh and he has tafsir, everything. But he is weak in hadith. What happens is that, mashallah, he has great ability to deduce rulings from the text of Quran and Sunnah. However, where does he lose it? He loses it when he uses ضعيف, يعني very ضعيف hadith and uses them as an evidence for what he is for his opinions. So that is somewhere يعني, he will be يعني, exploited, and يعني, somewhere where he is يعني, will be considered as weak, and his opinions will lose their value. So if he had taken some of the hadith يعني, such that he can يعني, differentiate and distinguish the sahih from the da'if, then this would have been يعني, more beneficial for him. نعم. وإن شاء الله these two lines بإذن الله تعالى نقرأهما وننتهي بذلك. ويعتني من كل فن بالأهم فالأهم. And when it comes to the different various sciences of knowledge, then he should يعني focus on the most important, and then the next most important. ولا يغفلن عن ما هو عن العمل الذي هو المقصود بالعلم. And he should not at all be neglectful of amal, which is the real goal of seeking knowledge. نعم. Shaykh Shahid says, as majority of educated people think this is opinion of more practical than dalil. Of course, the uneducated person will take dalil, but a student of how do we satisfy the person or ourselves? طيب. يعني, that means that by very, very strong opinion, you mean that something that seems more practical, something that seems more logically true. صحيح يا شيخ? Is that what you mean to say? Now, if that is the case, then of course you go with the dalil and what the dalil implies, and not what logically seems more appealing to you. Now, because لا بأس. Because we are asked to submit to the dalil and submit to what we understand from the text from the words of Allah and His Messenger, and it's not the aql that we are supposed to submit to. نعم. So you'll go with the dalil now. طيب نكتفي أيها الإخوة الكرام بهذا القدر، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. It was a slow start after the Eid break. Inshallah, we'll gain some pace in the next few days بإذن الله تعالى. Hopefully in the next 2 or 3 دروس we will finish our مقرر of تذكرة السامع والمتكلم بإذن الله تعالى. والله أعلم، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. نعم.